Hey, what's happening? It's Bill Smith. I am kind of shocked because since that Ilhan Omar lady out of Michigan, okay, a sister of ours, since she said that she would not take a pledge, she would not write a pledge that protected Israel at the expense of every other country, including the United States, she took that stand. She said, no, I'm not going to do it. Since that happened, we've broken a taboo. And the taboo is that you cannot talk about Jews and anti-Semitism in the media. And I'm watching the mainstream media openly talk about whether or not American Jews have dual loyalties. And that's what I was saying like a year ago. We have come a long way in 1 year. A long way. A lot of people are now openly talking about this. And it seems to be that the dual loyalty, the dual citizenship, that seems to be a problem. And I was starting to hone in on this on my own like a year ago because I was like, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? You can't change laws to favor certain people. We've kind of been trying to balance this for this multiculturalism experiment hellhole that we're living in. So what are we going to do? And the first thing on my list, I made a list of 3 things. First thing on my list was to expose dual loyalty and write some laws that says you cannot have an appointed position or an elected position anywhere in the government if you hold dual loyalty. Now, it's only going to get us so far with Jews because their citizenship just sits there until they're ready to receive it. And they'll only receive it when they're ready. And a lot of them never will. Some of them don't want to be Israeli dual citizens. Some of them will only want to become Israeli dual citizens the moment something bad happens in the world. They got somewhere to flee, and that's the reason why every Jew is Israel first. Quick things before we move on. I want to point out that What Finger News, the internet's conservative homepage, has a permanent ad on this website called Zionism.com. This is March 16th, 2019. We're going to check out this article right here. It's on their homepage. It's titled, Do American Jews Have Dual Loyalties? The real ones do. Jews in exile cannot remain Jewish unless their primary allegiance is to the Jewish people and, more importantly, the Jewish state. Jews in exile you cannot remain Jewish unless your primary allegiance is to the Jewish state of Israel. This column will argue convincingly, I hope, the author writes, that to be Jewish means to owe one's primary allegiance to the Jewish nation and state of Israel. And notice how he calls them 2 different things. There's the Jewish nation. Okay, these are people who are genetically Jewish, and the state of Israel. That is the ethno-state that they are building for themselves. We're getting smarter, friends. We are getting smarter. The trickery and the mystical wizardry of the Jewish conversation is starting to unravel. And I want to give a shout out to OWEN Benjamin. I don't really follow him closely. I've seen some of his stuff. I know he's serious. I know he's legit. And I also know that I've seen his face, like the way he looks, the way he's presenting himself to the world. I've seen that change over like the last 6 to 8 months. I mean, he's becoming a hardened person who doesn't fall for these tricks anymore. And he wants to get off to a good start. So you go give him some support. That's OWEN Benjamin. You can find him on YouTube. He's got a popular channel. The important thing about Owen was he had like 230-something thousand subscribers. He gets lots of views on his podcast or his vlog over here. I think this is what he's been doing professionally. I'm not sure. But he was just demonetized after having this discussion. Like I said, he got demonetized for talking about it. But he didn't get kicked off, and that's the important part. So I want to point that out. We are touching on the last taboo of conversation inside of conspiracy theories or alternative news, alternative media, things that people don't want you to talk about. This is the last one. And it's because once you can talk about this, the beans just get spilled all over the floor. Okay, the whole little house of cards comes crumbling down. People remember about urban moving. Shout out to urban moving. Urban moving was a homage to the Israeli Jews who danced on the van during the September 11th attacks. Once we go down these rabbit holes and normal people start to talk about this, it's all over. Just remember, though, this is the hottest content online right now. This is the absolutely hottest content. If you want to talk about something, talk about Zionism. All right, so I want to talk about the political landscape with Jews in America right now and what that's going to mean for us going forward. So I'm going to cover this guy's article because he does a better job. I mean, he put it all together. I couldn't believe how well he put it together, too. So this guy understands the world. His name is Ross Douthat, and he was on the Bill Maher show. You can come check this out. He's a Christian. He does not like Bill Maher, but I think that this guy might be a Zionist. I'm not sure. He's been writing as an opinion guy for the New York Times for a very long time. So if he's not a Zionist, he's going to tell everybody that he's a Zionist. Because you got to be a Zionist, man. You got to be Israel first. Otherwise, you can't write in the mainstream media, you can't hold an elected position, and you can't be appointed to a cabinet. So, in Ross's words, is anti-Semitism exceptional? The inevitable decline of left-wing philo-Semitism. Now, I didn't know what this word meant, philo-Semitism, so we're going to scroll down here. We're talking about philo-Semitism is people who like Judaism and the Jews. So I don't know why you had to have a word for that, but they do. This is March 9th, 2019. This is all in the same week. You know what I'm saying? All these articles came out the same week. So it says, like most places, America has always had potent strains of anti-Semitism, crude and polished, KKK and country club. But unlike many places, we have also had important strains of philo-Semitism, with both Protestant and Enlightenment roots, of really liking Judaism and the Jews. Makes me think why Protestants and the Enlightenment people really like the Jews. If everybody else didn't. You know, if country club people didn't and the KKK didn't, why do Protestants and Enlightenment people? I don't know. You know that Jews killed Jesus, right? Like they all got together and they made the Romans kill Jesus. And they said, "We will riot. We will Ferguson this place up if you don't murder this guy." What are you going to do? You know, if I'm Pontius Pilate, I don't want riots, man. So don't let people screw you like weird on that conversation. Jews killed Jesus. Jesus was a Jew, and he was saying, stop being satanic evil people. And they said, you got to go, bro. And so the story of the Jews in post-World War II America is the story not just of anti-Semitism's marginalization, that means it went away, but of philo-Semitism's triumph. Jewish Americans weren't simply integrated like other ethnic and religious groups. They also attracted a particular sympathy and admiration rooted in Holocaust remembrance. So down here, he really gets into it. So I'm just going to point out some notes. It says secularization would still be separating from the left from any specifically Christian sense of guilt over the Holocaust. So what's happening right now is that these people are isolated. Jews vote Democrat, but when they polled Democrats at like a 2-to-1 margin, people supported Palestine over Israel. So there's not enough Jews in the voting block of Democrats to actually make a difference. That's why Jews focus on holding elected positions in the Democrat side, and they run on appointments on the conservative or Republican side. And when you're a Jewish conservative, you're called a neocon. You're called a neocon. So that guy's name is Michael Bolton, and he's a Jew, and he's our Secretary of State or something. I don't know what he is. Foreign policy advisor. He's the one driving all the wars that we're in right now, or trying to get us out, depending on who you listen to. I don't know. There's some questions about Trump, and I know that the Chans are starting to go crazy. I'm not ready to jump ship yet, okay, because I think that you're not going to see if Trump's legit until after it's too late. It's going to look like he's so bad for us, you know, for the ones of us that know who's at the top of the pyramid of problems in the world, Israel. The people that understand that know that, we're not going to like some of the stuff that Trump's going to be doing. I got a feeling, you know? But Israel's got nukes, and we give them $60 billion a year. And they didn't sign the nuclear proliferation treaty like all the other countries with nukes did. So technically, they're outside of the bounds of law. I think we just also, whatever, I'm kind of moving on. These people like war. That's what I'm saying. If you're a conservative Jew, you are called a neocon. That's what the word means. Neocon means conservative Jew. And these people love to drop bombs, bro. So Ross's opinion and analysis goes on to basically point out that Jews have nowhere to go. Okay, Trump is saying, Jews, come over to the conservative party, the Republican ticket. We have open arms and we support Israel. I will fight for Israel. He keeps saying it over and over. Over and over. But Jews overwhelmingly did not vote for Donald Trump because they're liberal. So this guy points it out. He's like, they got nowhere to go. Once they leave the Democratic Party, there's nowhere to go. He says secularization would still be separating the left from any specific Christian sense of guilt over the Holocaust. But many American Jews would still enjoy the advantages that expose them to the left's intersectional critiques. And this drives people crazy because Jews say, hey, we're white. And then they say, as a white person, you need to give up your country. Finally, a great deal of the new anti-Semitism would still be coming from minority and immigrant communities that are seen as essential to left-of-center and especially radical left policies going forward, making them more difficult than right-wing anti-Semitism for the left to fully throated condemn. That's the Rashid Tlaib Rashiba chick, you know, the Muslim from Wisconsin or Minnesota. They can't rebuff her. You understand that? Because they put a lot of work into overrunning white society. And the way you do that is by immigration. 100%. And immigrants hate Israel. So there's like this, I don't even know what to call it. It's not even a double-edged sword. Because, of course, the right-wing anti-Semites haven't gone away either. Which is part of why the anti-Omar Democrats can tell themselves that by downgrading Jewish exceptionalism, I've never heard that word, those two words put together. I've heard of American exceptionalism, but remember when Obama was saying, you know, you didn't build that, America was never a great country? He was still giving Israel $60 billion a year to build nukes. They were still doing that. So if you buy into the conversation that Obama somehow didn't have Israel's best intentions in mind, didn't have an interest in Israel, you're wrong. Whether this argument works depends in part on what the post-Trump right ultimately becomes. Jew hatred is such that cultures choose between loving Jews and hating Jews, with only a swift downward slope lying in between. So I think that when that woman, whatever her name was, Ilhan Omar, when she said, I'm not going to write down a pledge that says I'm going to put Israeli Jewish interests first before American interests. She said, I'm not going to sign that pledge. That's what this whole thing was about. And then she knew she couldn't really name the Jew. You know, she's not going to say AIPAC is the one that threatened me. She has to say, look, I'm not comfortable supporting other countries at the expense of our country. And then everybody came out and said, you can't say that about Jewish people. You can't say that about Israel. And she's like, I didn't say it. You said it. I said I'm not going to do this for any country. And then you extrapolated and went insane. They got nowhere to go. Okay, that's the general gist of this opinion piece. And he's right. This guy's right. They can't stay in the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is saying we're going to support Palestine, essentially. Or we're not going to support Israel by default, anyway. And then you got the Republicans that well, basically the alt-right is what got Donald Trump elected, and they don't like Israel. So where are you going to go? Pick your poison. I don't think that this is going to change voting habits, because I think as much as Jews, like I said, you're not a Jew unless you're Israel first. I think they like abortion and some of the seedier parts of liberal society more than anything. So most people know that the law did not pass, but I thought I'd throw this to you. Turns out this one did. Combating European Anti-Semitism Act of 2017. Till next time, this is Bill Smith. Thanks for watching.